Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about cover system for player and AI in third-person shooter kit. So let's get started. Here in the features level there's a cover system section. So here you have various cover for player cover system examples, and there are descriptions in the bubbles. And also bear in mind, in the AI section there are also examples with the covers already, but we'll set up new level, new covers. So I will show you how to set up this from scratch. So let's go to new level, basic. Here we go, and I will put mannequin player mannequin on the level and enable possess to player 0. Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, so to use the cover for player, simply look for cover, like so, player covering point. Here it is. So there is one, and I will put some geometry, so we'll say it. It will say it in the word. So go to cube. Okay, so let's say that will be standing cover. So I'll make it bigger, higher, and let's say this size. Okay, and now we want to, let me bring this back to player a bit, and we want to align it with the geometry. So then let me make it bigger, for example. So idea is that the green wall, green mesh needs to be, it can be like that, needs to be in front of the geometry, because trace will go, so the cover size is checked by this green wall. All right, if we want this cover to be bigger, we can just scale it, or scale it, so make it smaller. Okay, so let's make it wider, like so, maybe a little bit more. A little too much. Oh, something like that. And now we need to adjust the peak location. So this volumes needs to be at the end of the cover, right? So if I go to unlit mode, right over here, you can see the cover volumes better, and I will also align it to the okay, this is fairly aligned. It doesn't have to be that aligned with the ground. What matters is that this peak volumes will be aligned with the more or less aligned with the ending, right? So with this line. Okay, so I'll make this a little bigger. Okay, so that's pretty much it. If you want to increase the size of the, so this is the volume. So this is the volume where the cover is available. So we can also increase that, like so, by scaling. So we need to adjust it, and this also needs to go to corner. Whoa. Let me do this like this. The camera is too fast. It doesn't have to be ideal. It's when player is in this volume, it means it can start using peak aiming. All right, and this you can also change if you open this blueprint. You can also change it in the blueprint itself. So you can increase the sizes here by default, or you can make a presets for bigger, smaller cover, whatever. Already in blueprint, you can make a child blueprint and change the size of this if you want for all of the covers. Okay, let's go back to game. All right, so that will be, let's check the settings. That will be standing cover. Let's play it quickly and test it. So I'm entering on C. As you can see, I'm moving around. I can crouch. I can aim. And aim in both directions. And when I'm going to the side, it's start. I can crouch also here. It is start aiming, and the blind shooting is also working. Okay, so that's our basics, and let's make a crouch cover. So I'll just copy this, move this box lower, so and just change the default cover pose to crouching. Right, so there you go. So here you can stand up, and you will aim out like this. Front, I call it front peak aiming. So you just aim frontally, and yeah, and then you have also the different blind shooting like this. Yeah, so that's standing and crouching covers. And what we can also make is static covers. So maybe I'll create, whoa, I don't know why it went there. I'll select both, maybe go to Word, just copy link like this. And I will make one like a pillar. So this cover will be without walking, and for this for this type of covers you have also them in features level examples. So go to settings, static cover point. As you can see, the peak volumes are gone because they're not needed anymore, because we can pick without any movement. And that will be crouching, and I will make another one for standing. Right, so this. Okay, let's go. So there it is. So you can see I can look left, look right, also crouch. But I can't walk, so that's a static cover point. And same for crouching one. Here, left, right. I can't walk, but I can aim. So this is like for narrow geometry. Okay, what else we have here is can use front aiming, can use left peak aiming. So you can, for example, when you have situations like this, and you want to have cover it, so it doesn't make this peak aiming does make sense because player will clip here, and so we can disable right peak aiming. So player will, well, I can show you. Player will go here until the end, and can't aim here because it's the peak aiming is disabled. Obviously, it doesn't make sense. So for like a corners, you can use that option. As of leave default camera, I think this is it is deprecated. From what I remember, it will be removed later, and that's about it. I think that's about it in terms of settings for player cover itself. And what interesting, maybe I'll show what interesting you can do. I can disable left. Also in static covers, you can disable all the peak aiming also. So for example, this one is has disabled left and right. So it will always, so even if you look left, right, it will always, it will only frontally aim, like so. For example, when you do this, right, it will aim on the left and right side. So these examples I have also on features level, and now there is plenty of settings in a player itself. So go to look for cover while selecting player, and I can briefly talk about most of them. So debug cover transition trace. With this, let's go to duration. So when you try to enter the cover, there is a trace check. Check if player can reach the cover, right? So if player is this kind of direction, it can reach the cover. But if player is out of angle, well, still it is in an angle, then then it will do roll, right? So it's like depending on which how much player is aligned to the cover itself. For example, maybe you want player to be able to get into cover only when it is very straight, which is also adjustable, and when it's like 90 degrees out of cover, do the roll, because it's on the same button, but you can tweak it. So as far as I remember, it is somewhere in angle cover enter angle range. So if you set it, for example, for 30, that's only 30 degrees. So player will have to be aligned with the 30 degrees to the cover itself, so almost straight to get into cover, right? So if it's outside this range, it won't trace. It will do roll instead, right? So you can increase it to 180 or 150. I think that was default. It's quite large angle, and yeah. So this is cool thing. There was, let's see, something with debug. Do we have anything debug? Oh yeah, copies boundaries check. So let's do it for a frame. And this debug view, as you can see, shows the trace where the cover ends. So it's tracing against this green wall, right? And if it stops hitting the green wall, it means the player will stop walking, won't be able to walk anymore, and it is on the edge of the cover. So this is one debug option. Where was it? Where is it? Here. Cover exit check trace box. Let's go for frame maybe. And so there is also a check to see if player can leave the cover and won't clip. This is for such a case when you have an obstacle. So let's say, it will be easier to copy like one box like this, right? And I don't know if it's too far or not. Yeah, so as you can see, it is hitting the box. So the exiting will be when it's hitting the obstacle. So the exiting will be blocked, right? Because if you try to exit, it would start clipping into the box. You can also do it, for example, when you would have a drop, maybe some any other place where you want to block living cover. Okay, let's go to player again. And what we have here, so that was the debug options, and couple other settings: walking speed, and crouched and walk, wall cover offset. So by the way, every variable has a tooltip, so you can see what is it doing. Cover wall offset, distance between cover and the wall and the player. If you want to, it's a distance. This distance, let me show you. When player is in the cover, there is an offset between this wall and the player. So if for any reason you want to have it bigger, because you have, thicker collision or something like that, you can say, let's say, increase it to 100, which will be quite a lot, I think. So you can see there is a gap now, right? So you need to adjust it, because if it will be too close, it will clip into the geometry and player will be blocked. Okay, so what else we have? Blind shooting timeout. It is time when how long the character will hold the blind shooting pose. So if I'll set, so let's go to by default, when I'm doing blind shooting and I'm stopping shooting, in a half second it will go back to the idle pose. You can set it, for example, 3 seconds. So it will hold it for 3 seconds before coming to the idle pose. What else? Cover exit distance. When player is exiting, we move back by this distance. For if you have different animations, if you want to make, I know, much more sliding player, you can increase the distance. I know, I'll give you 2 meters so you can see the difference. So if it's exit, like you can see, it will slide much out of the cover, right? So it's up to you. Cover angle, I told you already. In cover blind shooting, shoot towards crosshair. So this I will enable with where's the crosshair? I lost it. Crosshair, because you can have a visible crosshair during here it is. Blind shooting show crosshair. So I'll show a moment. So now when you do blind shooting, you can see the crosshair. This cover is quite high. It will be easier to move it down a little bit. Let's go to assault rifle, for example. And now when you do blind shooting, you shoot, the bullet goes to where the crosshair is, as you can see, right? So it's not really realistic, but it's maybe more as you want that player will aim with the crosshair, but the bullets will not go straight. If you disable this, bullets will go straight from the gun. So it is up to you. That's an option disabled by default. So let's go back to cover settings. Cover aim start anim speeds. So this is like how fast the cover aim and exit supposed to be. So I can increase it to 5 and it will aim super fast. As you can see, this is like super fast animation now. So you can change the speed of this if you want, if you have like more faster gameplay. Cover side peak ranges, and I think the tooltips is more explanatory. So it is pretty much how much you can aim with this kind of how much you can aim while being in a cover, but not aiming against the cover, but opposite, right? So when it's supposed to disable the cover, with the go to block the cover, block the aiming, right? So this is like a 60 degrees now, right? Because then it will clip more and yeah, it won't look good. Right, so you can change the angles for this. I think the 120 and 60 is like aligned with blend spaces. So peak aiming is of course this aiming. So if you go like this, right, you will, just my finger slipped. It will go back. It will, with 120 degrees, it will go back to the, it will disable the peak aiming, right? Because the aim offset won't look good. Cover enabled during sprint. It means it's an option pretty much when you're sprinting, and press C should you be allowed to enter the cover. If you do it on false, then from what I remember, it will just roll, right? So the cover, it won't go to cover, it will roll. So it depends on your priority. Okay, so that was player section. Now let's put covers for AI. So first we need to place NavMesh bounds volume. Okay, I press P to see the NavMesh, and I will make it much bigger. Okay, P again to disable it. Now let's go for AI mannequin or AI base, whichever you want. And let's give this guy a weapon. So I'm going to weapons and automatic rifle silencer. I will also make player immortal. So invincible, I think, invulnerable. And yeah, and now let's add some covers. So AI cover point, that's blueprints for AI. And let's make it towards this section, towards the player, and add some geometry. Maybe I reset this. It's kind of box. Well, could be too big. Maybe not. Okay, and yeah, place it next to the cover point. You can have multiple if you want, and make sure that the cover point itself here is on the NavMesh, right? Because AI won't be able to reach it. This colorful cone is availability for this cover point itself, so which you can tweak here dynamically. So pretty much it means, which is, this description is also on features level, the first one, and examples from this. And this you can also increase length. Oh, it used to work. Maybe you have to. Okay, that's weird. Okay, I don't know why the debug lines don't work anymore, but that doesn't matter. It's only debug. What's important is these angles. So this means, let's get the player. So if AI is in cover, right, and that's too bad that these lines, I thought, because it's only in game, I forgot. Okay. Anyway, so this determines, like, this checks valid angle for the cover, right? So if player is here, so which means player is still within this cone, right? What is this range? And this means that it is valid, still valid cover. If player will be here, cover will be outside the range, and AI will leave this cover because it won't be safe anymore. So this is for the case, for example, for this box, we would make it smaller, like so, because when player is here, and AI is still protected. When player is somewhere here, AI is not protected anymore because the box geometry is not let's say it's not aligning with the player anymore, right? So player can easily shoot it, easily shoot AI when it's in this position, when this position is still covered. Okay, so you can align per cover however you want. And yeah, options, standing cover, which means AI will simply stand there and shoot. And yeah, if by default is crouching, so we'll leave it like this. Is cover point available? You can enable, disable this during runtime. And yeah, so let's make a few more along with this box. You don't have to have geometry, of course, to make this work. It's just makes sense that AI will hide behind something. All right, so now let's go to select the AI itself and let's look for cover. And as you can see, there is quite a few options for this. First of all, the most important, I think, you want is probability. So it pretty much means how by default AI will do the cycle with flanking, will move around depending on the aggression and shoot. And after, I think there are 2 cycles of movement, it will try to go to cover. And so that's the probability of this, because maybe you don't want, auto-saving, maybe you don't want AI to go to cover always. Okay, but for this, let's make it as a 100%. And yeah, and okay, I think that's it. Where is the player? Player is here. Remove the player. Let's start here. There are a few more settings that we can tweak. I don't know if we will find any cover, because it could be. Oh yeah, there we go. So that was the nearest one. Yeah, so he went to cover, and yeah, now he's in the cycle. I think by default is between 2 and 4, so he will do like crouch between 2 and 4 times and leave the cover. Depending when the player relocated. Now he should, I think, look for by default furthest from player. So he will find the furthest from player available with an angle, and got another is in another cover. Yeah, the box could be bigger, so I can increase the height quickly like this. Okay, can align it a bit better. Okay, so let's go for the settings. So as you can see, it's simply working. Cover point side radius. Oh wow, this one is higher. Should it reload every cover height? So it means every crouch, it will reload the weapon. Cover point side radius is like, the range, how far it's supposed to look for. Show cover, here you have debug show cover points side radius. So here you can see, I'll go to unlit mode to better see. Here you can see the sphere. Where was it? Like so. So you can see how far it will look for a cover. Oh no. So we can change the range that it will look for a cover only, close or very far. So it's up to you. And force cover point, it means it's like no matter what, like it will just go to this cover point, and it will ignore if it's too close to player, it will ignore the conditions, right? So you can enable that, and target cover here, the target cover point, you need to pick it with the picker or from the list. So I don't know, pick this one. And you can also enable that angle check that I talked about, that are I know it's not. Yeah, I need to refresh it. You can also disable this. Enable this check, or have it disabled, so it will don't care about the angle. Okay, let's see if it will go. I think it was this one, right? It's loading. I don't know why this time takes so much, but it will start soon, I think. Okay, there you go. So I think it was this cover. So let's get this guy alarmed. I think it was this one, right? So he should, in a second, even if it's outside its radius, it should go to, yeah. I think there was a check with the distance now. That's why he left, because I was too close. But some conditions are still applied, distance. So there's also check for the distance. So if player is like too close, like this, he won't use the cover. Right, he will leave the cover, as you can see. You can also tweak that. I think it was, let me check, distance to player. Minimum distance to player to use cover point. It is also depending on the design. For example, if player is only, very far away, it could go to cover, or maybe if AI is more scared and goes to cover only when player is close. So you could set it by 100 to change this limitation. It's up to you. Where were we? So this was the first one, and also you can have preferred. So which means it is pretty much the same thing, but it won't check by distance. But so for example, if you have multiple covers available, multiple enemies, one cover can be taken, and if it will be available, it will always AI will always choose this one. It is more like a priority, and instead of checking distance conditions, which is this priority, cover priority, is, you can see it's farthest from player, it can be nearest from self, nearest to player. So it will ignore this. It will ignore this this condition, this priority, and it will prefer. Well, I think it is still also, you have a tooltip. It will prefer the specific one, right? If it's available. All right, so I chose this one, and prefer cover point. Use prefer cover point, and yeah, that's about it. Which one was it? I think this one, right? Yeah, so he's going on this one specific one. All right, so that was preferred cover point. That is the debug view. Go to cover point when alarmed. He won't use the cover at all. So it is pretty much the same as it overrides the probability. Yeah, hidden and unhidden time. It means how long it will be, how long it will be crouched in a cover, hidden in cover. So we can extend it, or I don't know. You can it is like between a random number between these two. So if you want it specifically 4 seconds, you put 4 in both. Let's say between 4 and 5, and unhidden, it will be very, very quick with 1 and 1.5. And for standing, it's a cycle. So how long it's supposed to stand in standing cover, right? So let's test it. What will happen? So as you can see, I will pause the game and fly there by pressing F8. Let's see. So you can see he's like popping up and just for a shoot a little bit and leave. Actually, this should be higher. See, he's just like 1 second and go back. So I could make like interesting behavior. Try to make them bigger so it will make more sense. Just again, I'll go somewhere else. Yeah, he's still aiming. Oh, that was not. Yeah, that's different setting. So you have to be careful with that, because there's also different setting that AI will shoot for some time, even after the player is not accessible. So it's like a leftover of series of shooting. Yeah, so here it is. Okay, so that was the hidden time. Cover points to ignore, I think it's self-explanatory. You can just specifically pick covers that this AI shouldn't choose, right? It will always ignore these covers. Sprint to cover probability, should it sprint or not? Crouching cover change and depending on the cover, is it crouching for standing? Change cover probability. It means like how often it's supposed to go from cover to cover after the cycle cycle ends. The cycle means like this is the cycle settings, how many times it's supposed to go crouch, it's supposed to hide. It's a minimum maximum, so it will always pick a random number between. All right. Go to combat point on cover point search fail. I think this could be already deprecated because we have a combat mode already, so it could be deprecated already. It could be some leftover, and change cover point to nearest to the player. I think it's self-explanatory. Minimum distance that we went through. Orient to target during moving to cover. So this is interesting and can shoot to target during moving to cover. So he will strafe while moving to cover. So it constantly shoot instead of sprinting. Right, so I think now he's going to cover. As you can see, he was keep strafing instead of sprinting. So it's up to you. And all right, now about player in cover detection settings. So AI can see player when he's covered. AI will never see player while AI will never see player while he's in cover. I think it's self-explanatory. Player in cover detection range and detect player within range. Here, this means when AI is alarmed and player get to cover, it is in cover, and despite that AI don't see player, it will still keep in alarm state. It will still stay in alarm state, right? So that's these two settings. If you want this enabled, and that's that range, AI can detect fraction of player. It means like even if a toe, even if a finger will be visible by AI sensing, AI will get alarmed. And if you set it to false, and it means it will trace from head to to the player to see if there is a connection. And I'll show this in game now with debug enabled duration for duration. So as you can see, there are traces because AI sensing can technically see player from this perspective, right? But only partially. So to make it less frustrating for player, there is detection check, right? If AI will see completely the player, the trace will hit the player, then it will get alarm, right? So he can be like this and he can still not see the player. It is up to you for the design. And now I know if I show the path node before, this is initial, to double check, this is initial path node. What? Here is initial path node set to this one, and this one goes to, and next one is this one, and this one is connected to this one. So AI doing this kind of patrol. So now I will move this. So AI will came across the player. So it should detect it now. So as you can see, traces are going. So it hit the from head to spine, the trace hit, and it became detected. Okay, and there is one more thing in this function is called trace detection, and I saw there is a bug in there, and so we need to change this socket location, that target, to be mesh. Before it was done like this, so the trace was from mesh to mesh, from player mesh to player mesh. So change that. This will be fixed in the next update, which will be probably 2.1.4. And yeah, and I think last setting was for alarm mode. Can look at should AI look at player when he's in cover and in alarm mode. So I think it's self-explanatory. So pretty much when player will be in cover here, and this will be enabled. Player AI will be here, and AI is alarmed. Player will move around. Should AI update the rotation to the player? Should be aware where the player is behind the cover, and align to it with the rotation. So it's again design thing if you need that. I think I covered everything. Remember, there are tooltips. I hope I covered that. Farthest from self-explanatory, which color priority it's supposed to take, nearest to player, farthest from player. And yeah, so that will be it for cover system. It took longer than I thought. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can always write on Discord. So good luck.